I'm so excited. Thank you for that amazing introduction. I was just like, oh my God, is she talking about me?
Absolutely, and I'm sure this is how a lot of other people look at you. They see you online, they read a lot of your write-ups and articles, and just think, how did you get so smart?
I actually don't think that I'm that smart. I'm smart enough. I think everyone has like a gift in a certain area, and you just try to become a master of that, particular craft.
Right.
And that's what I've done.
Yeah.
Somewhere along the line, I realized that I was good at breaking down, financial jargon to, everyday people.
Right.
And I've just basically honed in on that and found a way to sort of channel my gift or my skill in different ways. So like you talked about in Dani TV, the book, through my writing and speaking engagement.
Right. Absolutely. I mean, and a lot of times people are surprised when they find or hear a woman or see a woman talking about money in the way that you do, because a lot of times we're raised as women to spend the man's money. So what are your thoughts on that?
Okay, so I feel like in Africa, generally, men and women are raised differently. Absolutely. I think you're quite right, because on one hand, men grow up knowing that they have to be providers. So you're more likely to think, oh, I need to put money aside so I can buy a house one day, because you want to provide for your family. So you're thinking about your family's financial future. But women, I don't know, for some reason, we're brought up only to think of ourselves as nurturers. So even when we start earning money, we only think about it in terms of spending. Right. So spending for our kids so that, they have extras, absolutely, making the house a home. And even when they're contributing to very important things like rent and school fees, they are not necessarily saving towards building assets that will help them in the future.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So women, even when we save to spend as opposed to saving to build. So it's something that I'm hoping that, we can change. Yeah. So we need to reprogram our minds or reframe the way that we raise girls.
Totally. And I'm going to delve into, your book, but I'm meeting you for the first time, and I've been seeing you online and everywhere for quite a while now. So I want to know more about you. What drives you? Because I talked about how I found you on Bella Niger and then started watching you on Analyze This, and now you're here, an author. Something, and because you make it sound so easy. I know there are certain things I've been wanting to do for such a long time, and it's like, Lord, what drives you?
God, what drives me? Well, I have bills to pay. I have to feed my daughters the chorus, school fees. Children are expensive. But I think I basically just I don't want to say I fell into it, because I worked in wealth management for 8 years. Okay. And then at some point, I just got to a point where I realized I wanted to be doing more. And I was thinking, okay, what else can I do that is within my industry? And I found that I was good at talking to people. So my friends, their husbands, people are always, coming to me for business advice or, oh, what should I invest in? Or can you explain this to me? It's just something that I've always been passionate about. But I didn't necessarily think, it would translate to a different sort of job or business opportunity. But so I started writing, like you said, on Bella Niger. And I remember when I was writing that first article, I was so nervous about putting it out there, because I thought, who cares? Young people don't want to hear about money, about personal finance. But then I started realizing that even if there was personal finance information out there, it wasn't necessarily tailored to someone like me. So a girl who is young, wants to you want to work, you want to earn money so you can have a good life, but you also worry about your financial future. So I think that a lot of the personal finance advice is very they talk down at you. They tell you, it's very preachy. Don't do this and don't do that, save for a rainy day. But so
things you don't necessarily relate to.
So I found that I could talk about it from the point of view that an African millennial would understand, in the language that they would understand. So basically looking at saving and investing as not something that's scary, but something that you use to sort of fund the lifestyle that you want long term. In a way that's sustainable. It's about finding a balance, prioritizing and knowing, okay, if I make this choice, it means I can't make this choice. Yeah.
I mean, absolutely. I was going to say that's why, just like you said, young people think, oh, yawn when they think about someone talking about money.
Yeah.
But the way you have done it is the way, in the language that they understand. Because a lot of young people think, okay, I'm supposed to save and then not go on holiday and not.
Yes.
But you can go on a holiday. That's what you say. But you have to be able to sort of
plan towards
absolutely,
it.
Absolutely. Now here, I'm reading here that you're actually on several boards, including House of Tara, Nigerian Higher Education Foundation as a non-executive director, and also an associate member of WIMBIZ, serving on its planning committee since 2015. Wow, so tell us about all of this roles and stuff.
Okay, so people are always asking me, you're on the board of House of Tara, how? Especially because when I first joined the board, I was 27. And they always ask me if I'm related to Tara for like, is she your auntie? But I met her on an executive education course in Abu Dhabi, and we basically just hit it off. She basically blocked me at tea time and was like, Arese, sorry, come, I want to understand, what's somebody as young as you doing here? And basically we became really good friends. She became a client, and you know, we just used to like talk about her business and, you know, her plans and all things she wanted to execute and strategy, that sort of thing. And then, you know, when I was 27, she invited me to join her board, which was huge for me. First I was like, are you sure? Because it was, you know, there were people like Ibukwan Woshika, Nimi Akinkubi, Osayi Alile, and I was the youngest. But you know, like Mrs. Awoshika always says, like, it doesn't matter how young you are, you're here for a reason, there's value that you can add. And then the Nigeria Higher Education Foundation, it focuses on, you know, preparing university graduates for, like, proper jobs and, you know, just basically, like, bettering that. I joined that board, I think, a year ago, and so yeah, it's exciting. Oh, lovely, lovely, absolutely. All right, for those who are just tuning in, you've missed quite a bit, but you know, she's still here, and I'm going to hang on to her for a little longer. We've got Arese Ugwu, who is the author of The Smart Money Woman. She actually also is the foundation of smartmoneyafrica.org. And okay, now I know a lot of people want to hear about the book. I know. Well, thank you very much for this copy. Thank you. I appreciate that. I actually didn't know that I was selling at House of Tara here. I mean, I was thinking, when am I going to be able to get to Lagos in order to get my copy? Because the moment I saw that you had a book out, I thought I really wanted to read that. Now, read lots of excerpts from the book. And I know, obviously, it's a book about women, personal finance, and then it's fiction surrounding some women and how they deal with their personal issues, financial issues. So my whole thing, like, I think since I started Small Money or writing about personal finance, has been, how do we put it in a context that's truly African? And, you know, how I was saying, you have to speak in the language that, you know, your target audience understands. So I was thinking, you know, what do I like? I was obsessed with a show called Sex and the City. I don't know if you know about that. And I love business books. So I basically wanted to write a book that was a mix of both. So The Small Money Woman basically tells the story of Zuri, a Lagos girl that looks like she has everything, you know, figured out. But she finds out that she's broke because she doesn't have anything in terms of assets. So she has a well-paying job, but she's never been able to save properly. And it basically like walks us through like her journey to financial freedom, how she deals with debt, how she, you know, creates a spending plan, all the different like obstacles that she's faced with, and how she deals with them. It also shares like the personal finance stories of her friends, Ladu, Adesoa, Lara, Tammy, you know, who are all, you know, fabulous women, but have different paths and different jobs and directions. But I think, you know, so far, it's an interesting read, I've heard. Most people say they can't put it down. And at the end of each chapter, it has smart money lessons and exercises. Oh, nice. So you can sort of work your way through the book and work on your own personal finance journey. All right, and are you afraid that men will think, oh, this is a girl's book? Are you afraid? Okay, I've had two reactions. One of my friend's husband, my best friend's husband, he told me at a party, you know what, just tell Nana to read it because it's so girly. Like, I don't know that it's, you know, tailored to me. But I've also gotten a lot of men who have read it and love it, and, you know, keep sending me messages to ask questions, and they feel like, why did you make this book for only women? Because it applies, like, the world health lessons apply.
Wow, absolutely.
Yeah.
He got a review from Aliko Dangote.
Yes.
How did that make you feel?
Oh my God, I was freaking out like when I first decided to send him the manuscript.
Yes.
Because I thought, who do you think you are? You know, like he's probably going to be like, I'm too busy.
Right.
But when I heard that he had asked his PA to you know, put the manuscript on the plane with him to go when he was traveling, and he was reading it.
Yes.
I was so excited, and I just thought, I said, actually, you send this out to the richest
really
man in Africa now. What if he thinks it's rubbish? But his review was so amazing. Like all the people who I sent the book to,
yes.
I think that they gave me like the first confidence, like the first real like confidence to know that this concept wasn't silly, that it actually, you know, made a lot of sense. You know, they're all established business leaders and you know, business people, so it was really awesome. Like I was super excited.
I can totally imagine. Well done, Arese. All right, so I also want to find out, and I'm going to take a break just to keep everyone in suspense, just because I can. And also because I want to keep her here a little longer. I know she's going to be at House of Tara signing copies of your book. I'm going to tell you where exactly House of Tara is, just in case you do not know. But when I come back, I also want to ask, because I mean, I haven't read the book, but I've read bits and bobs, and I've heard from, you know, people as well. And I know obviously Zuri is that main character who, you know, made lots of financial mistakes, like a lot of us have done. And you are someone who has been on the board of an organization since 27. So it just feels like you've made you have this great financial record. You want to find out if you have made mistakes of your own and how you've, you know, learned from that. So, but we're going to take that after the short commercial break. So be patient. Arese is still here, and I want to dig as much as possible just for you. So stay tuned. And she's Arese Ugwu. For those who are just joining us, she's the author of The Smart Money Woman, an African Girl's Guide to Financial Freedom. Now, for the guys out there who are feeling a bit sidelined, I think you should pick it up as well, especially if your wife or girlfriend isn't the kind of, you know, isn't the kind of person who likes to read much. Then you can sort of read it and then, or something, whatever. And I think people, moms should get it for their teenage daughters as well. Yes, I think that's a great place to start. Don't wait for them to make all these, you know, reckless mistakes. But before I went to that break, also I was asking Arese if she had made some mistakes herself. For someone who at 27 was already on the board of, you know, certain organizations, what have you learned in your financial journey?
I think that when people think that they see you as successful, or they think that, you know, you talk about personal finance, they expect you to be perfect. But I feel like no matter how much money you have or how much knowledge you have, you'll still make mistakes. So my thing has been, don't beat yourself up, but create systems around your money that help you to do better. So for example, one of the things that I know about myself is that I am an impulsive spender. Really? So if I leave all my money in my account, in my current account, I will find ways to spend it on, you know, drinks with the girls like Zuri in the book, or, you know, toys for my daughter Zukora, name it. So I found that for me, what works is leaving just enough, like, so because I know how much I need to live on a month-to-month basis. When I get any kind of income, I invest it first, and I only leave the proportion of my income that I need to survive for the month. So I know this sounds weird, but I've learned to think broke. So if you have only 100K in that account, you will know I can only spend 100K. So what that means for me is, if it's down to 20K or 5K and a month never ends, I will soak Gary for the rest of the month. So my friends are always saying, how can you say that you can't afford this? Or how can you say that you can't afford that? And I'm like, because I can't. Because me having, no matter how much money you have, your resources are always going to be limited. So you have to, you know, spend on the things that matter to you the most, and cut expenses ruthlessly on things that don't really matter. So I'm not going to spend my income buying 5 ashwebi for... I
was going to say, that's something that a lot of women will relate with.
For like 5 different acquaintances' weddings. I will wear what I have. I've started doing this thing of repurposing my mother's Iran Boba into like, you know, different funky outfits. because if what is important to me is, say, oh, I need to pay school fees, or I've set, a long-term goal of, buying this asset, before the end of the year, or I want to travel with my daughter. Me putting my money on all those things that are seemingly small, but they add up, means I'm giving up my goals. So it's not about being perfect, but it's about creating systems around your money, around your personal financial economy that work for you. So, for example, I will only have one ATM card for that account that I use for bills. So it makes it harder for you to go and access other accounts, because that means you have to walk into a bank, and I'm very lazy. Yeah.
All right. Well, I wanted to ask though. I'm glad you talked about assets, because I think a lot of people actually have problems with trying to determine if it's an asset or a liability. I think that's the problem. But I wanted to draw you into a story. I was anchoring a newspaper review show this morning, and we're looking at Sanusi asking the federal government to sell refineries and stuff, and people were like, hey, those are assets. You can sell liabilities like the private jets. But what are your thoughts on that?
Okay, so right now we're broke. And one of the biggest problems that we have is mismanagement of the resources that we do have. I'm a big believer in privatization. I think that if they sell off the assets to, private, companies or the private sector, they will run those things more efficiently and will be able to derive revenue from it. There's no point in having an asset that you cannot get a proper income from. So it's like on an individual level, back in the day, you'd hear about, people's parents who had houses all over the country, but, at some point they keep buying, but they can't keep up with how many houses they have or which land they have. So land is only as good as the capital appreciation or the income that you're going to get from it, or a house is only as good as the rental income you're going to possibly get from it. So I think I'm in favor of selling, because I don't have that much faith in the current management of those resources.
And I totally agree, but I think a lot of Nigerians who are against selling because, like, for example, in the electricity sector, they sold to themselves. So a lot of people are afraid that, oh, you want us to sell because you want to buy it and then tap, so that's the problem. Transparency,
the bureaucracy that also still comes with, those sales.
Absolutely. Well, I know I have to let her go, but thank you very much, Arese, for being a part of the Morning Splash. Now she's going to be at House of Tara.
House of Tara in Ibadan Mall.
Yes, the Palms Mall.
Is that the Palms Mall?
It's the Palms Mall, actually.
Oh, sorry, this is my first time in Ibadan, so it's okay.
It's the Palms Mall, just on Ring Road here. House of Tara is just walking and then turn to your right. House of Tara is very, very, conspicuously located there. So you're going to be there signing books and selling.
So come and meet me. I can't wait to meet
her. She's absolutely gorgeous. You want to go out there and take a selfie with her as well. She's beautiful, and she's just amazing. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for having me.
For being here. Wow, finally I can, finally say I had her on my show. Really good to be able to say that. Okay, well, the Morning Splash still continues. We'll take another set of commercials, and then I'll be back on the show. Thank you so much, Ibadan, for listening, and I'm sure I will be catching you at House of Tara from 12 o'clock, getting a copy of your Smart Money Woman book by Arese. She'll be there in person, so get out there. It's not the same as having, the author autograph it to you. I'm telling you, most of my books, I make sure the author actually autographs it, so I'm glad I have mine with my name written on it in her writing. All right, so the Morning Splash continues. Thank you very much. Don't go away yet. We will be right back.